Hey guys, up? Back with another video. This is going to be a late uh, wrestling pay-per-view review. This time we got Bound for Glory 20 from 2011, as I knocked the fucking camera, sorry there. We got Bound for Glory 2011. We got Rob Van Dam, we got Bobby Roode, James Storm, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and the icon, the insane icon Sting on the cover. It's pretty cool. There's the back, there's the matches on the back. But we're not here for that right now, are we? We're here for the review, so let's get on with this, shall we? First match, we kicked off the pay-per-view with Brian Kendrick taking on Austin Aries for the X Division Championship. Austin Aries is the champion, of course. Brian Kendrick is the challenger after Austin Aries beat him, hit no surrender. This is a rematch. And damn, good opener. Great opener. Really fun X Division opener. As I always say, you can never beat an X Division match to kick off a show. Mostly all the time, the X Division never disappoints, and this one didn't disappoint. Austin Aries, whatever you may think of him outside the ring and how he acts and how he seems to leave companies on bad terms. He's great in the ring, and this match was no different. Him and Brian Kendrick had a great match, and the crowd was on fire. And yeah, good opener. Let's move on, shall we? That was a good opener. Nothing but good things to say about that opener. Then we had the Full Metal Mayhem match between Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam. This was a good retro ECW style matchup. They were in Philadelphia, of course, so. They were in Philly, so it was kind of a nice nod, so to speak, to the original ECW, and they did what they could. It was a fine match. I'll probably expect, it was something. Probably would have expected something like this from the original ECW, apart from the fact that they were probably like 10 years younger or something. So yeah, really good stuff. Really enjoyed this match. RVD getting the win. And then, of course, Jerry Lynn and RVD embraced afterwards. And, yeah, probably wouldn't be the last time we see someone embrace tonight, wouldn't we, Hoster? Brother! All about me, brother! Yeah, of course it is. Anyway, next match, we had the undefeated Crimson taking on Samoa Joe and Matt Morgan in a triple threat match. This was okay. It was a very weird booking at first where the two baby faces ganged up on the heel Samoa Joe. If you're watching this without knowing the storyline, you probably think like, this is a weird story. This is weird, like the two baby faces double teaming the heel. Like, I feel sorry for the heel, Samoa Joe. But knowing the story and actually living through the story with Samoa Joe injuring Crimson and taking him out the Bound for Glory series, and Matt Morgan sticking up for Crimson, you could see what was going to happen here. Basically. All three men delivered. Crimson was good. I think he hanged. He didn't look out of place. He didn't look out of place. He was in there. He was in there with Samoa Joe. I like Crimson. I think he's good. Shame that he didn't really last too long. As soon as his streak came to an end, I know he wasn't. I know people said he was green, but I thought he was all right. Samoa Joe, yeah, he was pretty good, pretty cool in this match. He was pretty good in this match, and Matt Morgan delivered too. Like, he did a flying crossbody off the top rope to the outside on to Crimson. I was like, holy crap! Like, I know I've seen Matt Morgan do that before, but it's like you never get used to a big 7-foot guy jumping on you. Hold on, that came out wrong. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I never for your information, I've never had a 7-foot guy jump on me. That. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, Crimson won, and it was all fun. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I made myself laugh for a moment. So yeah. Anyway, next match we had Bully Ray taking on Mr. Anderson in a Falls Count Anywhere Philly Falls Count Anywhere match. This was fun. A very fun physical match. Not a bad thing to say about it. Went all over the building. Anderson got power drove onto concrete, but somehow wasn't the finish. Bully Ray took a lot of insane bumps onto trash, onto guardrails. Sorry, how did they get? I got the guardrails and trash cans confused somehow. I don't even know why. Yeah, and the match. The only thing that would have made the only thing making it stopping this from being a perfect anything goes match was the finish. Unfortunately, Mr. Anderson overshot the table when he went to do the dive off the top rope to the outside. He went for a swanton, senton bomb, whatever you want to call it, the Jeff Hardy swanton bomb. He went for that move and he kind of overshot and his head hit Bully in the stomach, but the table didn't break. So, but as quick as a bird, as quick as a cat, he called an audible. Both him and Bully, they're probably professionals and all that stuff. So, they knew what they were doing, and they basically all called an audible, and Anderson basically hit the mic check through the table. So, good match. Shame that the table spot didn't go as planned, but it was really some solid stuff. Props to Mr. Anderson for even taking that swan-time bomb, for even attempting that swan-time bomb to the outside. Because he's not known as a high flyer, is he, Mr. Anderson? So, I enjoyed that. Pretty cool stuff. Then we get to the downer part of the night. We get the Knockout Championship match. We have Velvet Sky taking on Mickie James, taking on Winter, taking on Madison Rayne in a four-way. This would have been alright if it was just the four ladies having a match. But they had to have Karen Jarrett, who was in charge of the Knockouts at the time. They had her be the special guest referee, and she was being the typical over-the-top heel referee, which wouldn't count the baby faces, and it was just a mixture mess, and the crowd didn't seem to care. And I was sitting there going, is this really the best you got on the biggest pay-per-view of TNA in 2011? Is this the best you got for your TNA Knockouts? Is a four-way with the knockout referee being Karen Jarrett, all about Karen Jarrett. I'm like, no offense to Karen Jarrett, it's like, but she, I get what they were going for. She's in charge of knockout. She doesn't like Velvet, and then Velvet ends up winning the match because Winter sprays Karen in the eyes with mist or whatever liquid that supposedly came out of her mouth, and and then she got incapacitated. The referee got incapacitated. So and then Velvet ended up winning the match. Like, I get that part. It was a fun story for Velvet to win the championship. I was happy for her. But I was not happy with the fact, it's not one of those matches I would want to relive over and over again. Like, I wouldn't be proud to win my first championship in that kind of match, So, anyway, that's me. That's just me. Maybe Velvet's proud of it. I mean, hopefully she lets the pigeons loose more often. Jesus Christ. I'm terrible tonight. Sorry, guys. I think the heat's getting to me. Anyway. The next match, we had AJ Styles taking on Christopher Daniels in an I Quit match. This was alright. Sorry that I keep repeating myself. It's just like sometimes I don't really know what to say. Like some matches are just alright. It wasn't their best match. I've seen better Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles matches. I think the I Quit stipulation kind of held back them having a good match. But apart from that, it was a fun match. Christopher Daniels made it personal towards the end, where he was like, basically saying he was going to murder AJ Styles on live television, and then AJ got the screwdriver, and Christopher Daniels immediately quit. He was like, I quit, and then he ran off to the back, with his tail between his legs, and then AJ was celebrating. Not like it wasn't a good victory. It felt like the start of the feud, less than the end of the feud, which, this is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bound for Glory. So a bit of a downer towards the end, and of course Christopher Daniels came back out afterwards and attacked AJ and laid him out on the ramp, so we kind of knew that it wasn't the end of the rivalry, even though it is the rivalry for now, in the end of 2011, because, as we know, plans would change and Daniels and AJ would go their separate ways until 2012. So anyway, more on that. Well, I was going to say more on that in 2012, but I just realised I've already done 2012. Yet they had a massive rivalry throughout 2012, so sorry about that, guys. We had a Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy promo or confrontation. Jeff Jarrett called him out, said he wants Jeff Hardy to basically leave, and Jeff Hardy came out, and they got into a brawl, and it was a good brawl, and it set up perfectly for their confrontation in the fall of 2011. It led to their matches at Turning Point and Final Resolution. So it was alright. It was a good segment. It was a good way to fill time. Probably so Hulk Hogan could fill those, could oil those knees up, right, Hulkster? Anyway, speaking of the Hulkster, we have the Hulkster on next. We have Hulk Hogan versus Sting for control of the company of TNA. And what to say about this match? This match was, they got the best of what they could get. Out of a man who's, had, 900 back surgeries, knee replacements, like, you ain't gonna get much out of Hulk Hogan. I think that sponge had almost deactivated at this point. So they did the best that they could. They threw the smokes and whistles in there with the Spike and Sting bleeding and bouncing all over the place like a madman, like Sting is. Look at him right there. Look at that face. How can you not love that face? We love you, Stinger. Anyway. The smokes and whistles of the Spike and the blood, Sting bleeding and then Hogan bleeding and then Flair being at ringside and being woo and styling and profiling as Flair would always do. And then Bischoff's son, Garrett Bischoff, being announced as Garrett Bischoff on this show. Like, it wasn't called Garrett Bischoff, he was still called Jackson James at this time. But the reveal of him being Eric's son was, it was revealed in this show, small lot of smokes and mirrors to cover up the fact that Hogan couldn't do much. But they milked it, they milked the crowd for everything that it's worth, and boy howdy, they probably milked me too, which is a very weird visual, 7 feet man jumping on me, now I'm having Hulk Hogan, and I'm having visions of Hulk Hogan milking me like a cow. Boy, this review's gone a bit weird. Sorry for anyone who has to watch this. I apologize. I'm terrible. Sorry, guys. Anyway, and Sting won. It was the right result, and then the aftermath was just like a movie. The baby face, the hero, the conquering hero, topples the evil Hulk Hogan, and then his evil gang come out and beat up the babyface clown, and then he asks Hulk for help, and Hogan sees that it's the error of his ways and rips the shirt off just like Hogan 99, like he was back in the 80s, and the crowd goes wild, and Hogan and beats up Immortal, and all is good with the world, you know what I mean? So this was fun. It was as you can imagine, this was a lot of fun to see and a lot of fun to watch. For what they did, for what they could get out of Hogan, it was good stuff. Big thumbs up for this one. Which brings us to the main event. Kurt Angle defending the Impact World Championship against Bobby Roode. This match rules. I love this match. I'll get to the finish in a minute, but yeah, Kurt Angle came into this match injured, but you wouldn't have thought it apart. You wouldn't have known it apart from the fact that he had a big, massive tape on his knee, around his thigh. But he worked his ass off, and Bobby worked his ass off. It was a great match. I love the match, but unfortunately, the finish kind of ruined it for me. I thought it was Bobby's time to win the match. Even now in 2022, 11 years later, I still think Bobby Roode should have won this match. And, seeing what happens after this with Kurt Angle, spoiler alert, Kurt Angle loses the title 4 days later on Impact to James Storm. And we get the whole, James Storm getting turned on 2 weeks later after that against Bobby Roode, wins the world title anyway, as a heel. I get what they were going for, but to me, I would have just had Bobby Roode win the world title, because it felt like at the end of the show, it put a real downer on the show. At the end, it was like, same old, no new stars created. It was just same old, same old stars. Nothing against Kurt, but, it didn't feel like, having Bobby Roode in the ring after the match, just sulking in the corner as Kurt Angle is being helped to the back. It isn't a good way to end your biggest pay-per-view of the year. So I would have had Bobby win the title. Anyway, that's it. Apart from that, everything else was good. So I'm gonna score this in 8 out of 10. I enjoyed mostly all the stuff apart from the knockouts match and a couple of small little inklings. But apart from that, good show. Really enjoyed it. I give it 8 out of 10, as I said. I hope you enjoyed it too. And I'll see you again later. And I'm out.